Hey, welcome to the channel. Tis I, the legendary Giga Chat, MaXXLeft, and today we're exploring the decline of horror anime. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's take a walk down memory lane and reminisce the glory days of horror anime. Back when the genre was at its peak, the golden days of horror anime, when each new series seemed to outdo the last, pushing boundaries and scaring the living daylights out of us. Back then, horror anime had an air of mystery and excitement surrounding it. Every series had the potential to become a classic, and us fans would eagerly await each new release. Now, let's talk about some of the standout series from the golden age of horror anime. Higurashi no Nakukurani, also known as When They Cry. This psychological horror series featured a small rural village with a dark secret and a cast of seemingly innocent characters who slowly unraveled as the series progressed. The twisted storylines combined with the show's unique visual style made Higurashi a fan favorite and a staple of horror anime. Then there was another, a supernatural horror series that drew viewers in with its dark atmosphere, intricate plot, and a string of mysterious deaths. The series focused on a curse plaguing a particular high school class, causing its students and their family members to suffer gruesome deaths. The chilling atmosphere, detailed art, and sound design made another a must-watch for anime fans. And who could forget Parasite, a sci-fi horror series that expertly blended body horror, psychological terror, and action-packed scenes. The story followed a high school student who became partially infected by an alien parasite, gaining the ability to transform his right hand into a powerful weapon. Parasite's unique premise, engaging characters, and thought-provoking themes made it an instant classic. Then there were the psychological thrillers that blurred the line between horror and drama, such as Serial Experiments Lane, Perfect Blue, and Monster. These shows tackled complex themes, delved deep into the human psyche, and left us viewers questioning our perception of reality. The intricate plots and compelling characters of this series made them stand out in the horror anime's landscape. Even to this day, during the golden age, horror anime was a diverse and innovative genre, each series bringing something new to the table. There were supernatural horror shows like Ghost Hound, which explored the worlds of spirits and the afterlife, psychological horror shows like Boogie Pop Phantom, which delved into the darkness of human nature, and horror comedy hybrids like School Life, which combined cute and creepy elements in a post-apocalyptic setting. But as we all know, nothing lasts forever, and the golden age of horror anime eventually gave way to a decline in the genre. So, what happened? Firstly, let's talk about one of the key factors contributing to this downfall, the standard nature of modern horror anime. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing inherently wrong with using familiar tropes and story structures. In fact, some of the greatest horror anime series from the golden age relied on these very elements to create the chilling narratives. However, the problem arises when the creators became too reliant on these formulas, resulting in a sea of cookie-cutter horror series that failed to distinguish themselves from one another. To better understand this issue, let's take a look at some of the most common tropes and cliches found in modern horror anime. First, there's the haunted school setting, which has been used and abused to the point of exhaustion. While series like Another managed to put a unique spin on this trope, many other shows simply rehash the same tired storyline, offering nothing new or innovative to this genre. Another obvious trope is the creepy little girl character, often accompanied by a tragic backstory and a thirst for vengeance. While this character type can be effective in moderation, I feel like its overuse has diluted its impact and made it feel predictable and stale. And also, many modern horror anime series rely on excessive gore and violence as a substitute for genuine scares. While gruesome visuals can be a powerful tool in horror storytelling, they should serve and enhance the story and atmosphere, not replace them. When a series relies solely on blood and guts to shock the audience, it often ends up feeling shallow and void of substance. Feels like the over-reliance of these familiar tropes and cliches has led to a stagnation in the horror anime genre. As a result, fewer and fewer series manage to stand out from the crowd, and honestly, most of us horror anime fans feel disappointed and underwhelmed. Now, the question is, why have creators become so reliant on these formulas? One possible reason could be the pressure to produce more content at a faster pace. With the anime industry booming, studios are churning out series after series that can honestly shorten the time for creators to experiment with new ideas and develop unique stories. Another possible explanation is the fear of taking risks in an incredibly competitive market. When a particular formula has proven successful in the past, it can be tempting for creators to stick with what they know rather than venture into uncharted territory. Whatever the reason, the result is clear. The standard nature of modern horror anime is a significant factor in the genre's decline. Another crucial aspect of storytelling that has taken a backseat in the modern horror anime: character development. Strong, well-developed characters can make or break a horror story. After all, if we don't care about the characters, why should we care if they live or die? During the golden age age of horror anime, series like Higurashi and Monster excelled at crafting complex, multi-dimensional characters that viewers could emphasize and root for. These shows took their time to explore the characters, backgrounds, motivations, and fears, making them feel like real, fleshed-out people rather than mere plot devices. Unfortunately, many modern horror anime series have neglected this essential element of storytelling, opting instead for one-dimensional characters that serve little purpose beyond being fodder for the next gruesome death scene. This lack of character development makes it difficult for us to become emotionally invested in the story, ultimately weakening its impact. Consider horror anime series that focus solely on shock value, putting all their effort into crafting increasingly violent and gory death scenes while neglecting the characters themselves. Sure, these series might deliver a few cheap thrills, but they often leave most of us feeling empty and unsatisfied in the long run. On the other hand, when a horror anime series takes its time to develop its characters, the stakes feel higher and the scares become more intense. When we care about the characters, we are more likely to be on the edge of our seats, desperately hoping they'll survive whatever horrors awaits them. So, how can modern horror anime series improve in this area? It starts with giving characters well-rounded personalities, motivations, and backstories. By fleshing out these aspects, creators can make their characters feel like real people, encouraging us to become emotionally invested in their fate. Ultimately, the key to crafting strong, compelling characters in horror anime lies in striking a balance between reliability and unpredictability. By creating characters that feel like real people with their unique strengths, weaknesses, and fears, modern horror anime series can recapture the emotional depth and intensity that made the golden age of horror anime so memorable. Now, let's turn our attention to the absence of genuine fear. After all, what's a horror anime series without the spine-tingling, pulse-pounding sensation of dread that keeps us glued to our screens? During the golden age of horror anime, series like Higurashi, Another, and Parasite were masters of building tension and creating an atmosphere of unease that left us viewers on the edge. These shows knew when to hold back, like knowing when to unleash their full force of their terrifying narratives. However, many recent horror anime series seem to have lost sight of this crucial aspect of the genre. Instead of building suspense and creating a sense of dread, these shows rely on cheap jump scares and excessive gore to scare viewers. While these tactics can be momentarily effective, they ultimately fail to create the lasting sense of terror that defines great horror storytelling. So, what can modern horror anime series do to recapture the genuine fear that made the golden age so memorable? One approach is to focus on building tension through atmosphere and pacing. By gradually increasing the sense of unease and dread, creators can keep viewers on the edge of their seats, waiting with bated breath for the horror to unfold. Another strategy is to explore psychological horror, delving into the darker aspects of the human mind to create terror that lingers long after the screen has gone dark. Series like Serial Experiment Lane and Perfect Blue excel in these areas, challenging viewers to confront their deepest fears and question their perception of reality. Lastly, modern horror anime creators should not be afraid to take risks and experiment with new storytelling techniques. The golden age of horror anime was marked by innovation and creativity, with each series pushing the boundaries of what was possible within the genre. By embracing the spirits of experimentation, today's horror anime series can forge their path and create truly memorable, fear-inducing experiences. Let's discuss another factor contributing to the decline: the oversaturation of the anime market. In recent years, the anime industry has exploded in popularity, resulting in a massive influx of new series each season. While this growth has undoubtedly led to more variety of choices for anime fans, it has also made it increasingly difficult for individual shows, particularly horror anime, to stand out from the crowd. With so many series varying for viewers, it's no wonder that horror anime has struggled to make a lasting impact. In a sea of colorful, action-packed, and heartwarming stories, horror series often find themselves overshadowed, fighting for a limited share of their audience's attention. This oversaturation has also led a decline in overall quality, as studios rush to churn out new series in an attempt to cash in on the booming anime market. With production schedules becoming increasingly tight, there's often little time for creators to refine their stories and characters, resulting in a rushed, shallow narratives to fail to do justice to the horror genre. What can be done to counteract the impact of oversaturation on horror anime? One solution is to focus on quality over quantity, with studios and creators investing time and effort into crafting standout horror series that can rise above the noise and capture viewers' imaginations. By prioritizing storytelling, compelling characters, and innovative approaches to horror, these series can rekindle the passion for horror anime and pave the way for a new generation of classics. Additionally, the anime community can play a crucial role in supporting and promoting standout horror series. Fans can help raise awareness and generate excitement for the genre, encouraging studios and creators to take the risk and invest in high-quality horror storytelling. And it pains me to say this, but another factor contributing to the decline is the shift in audience audience preferences away from horror. With the rise of genres like isekai, slice of life, and fantasy, it's painfully obvious that many viewers are gravitating towards more lighthearted, escapist content. This trend is likely influenced by the increasingly stressful and uncertain state of the world, with people seeking refuge in uplifting stories that provide a much-needed respite from reality. This shift in audience preferences has made it increasingly challenging for horror anime to find its footing. Horror series often struggle to attract a sizable audience. As a result, studios may be less inclined to invest in horror projects, opting instead to focus on genres that have proven more popular and profitable in recent years. However, this shift in preferences doesn't mean that horror anime is doomed to obscurity. Instead, it presents an opportunity for the genre to evolve and adapt to the changing tastes of its audience. By exploring new themes and storytelling techniques, horror anime can continue to engage and entertain the people, even as their preferences shift to other genres. One approach is to blend horror elements with other popular genres, creating a hybrid experience that caters to a wider audience. Series like Attack on Titan and Tokyo Ghoul has successfully incorporated horror elements into their action-packed narratives, demonstrating that there's still a place for horror anime within the broader anime landscape. Another strategy is to focus on the emotional and psychological aspects of horror, using the genre as a vehicle to explore complex themes and ideas. By delving into the darker aspects of the human experience, horror anime can offer viewers a unique and thought-provoking perspective that sets it apart from other genres. Now, it isn't a surprise that there's a decline in creativity and innovation within the horror genre. Was its willingness to push boundaries and experiment with new ideas. Series like Paranoia Agent, Boogie Pop Phantom, and Hellgirl each offered a unique take on horror, challenging our expectations and redefining what the genre could be. However, in recent years, it seems that many horror anime series have fallen into a rut, recycling familiar tropes and storylines instead of taking risks and exploring new territory. The lack of innovation has led to a stagnation within the genre, with many series feeling like pale imitations of their groundbreaking predecessors. So, what can be done to reignite the creative spark within horror anime? One solution is to encourage creators to think outside the box and challenge the conventions of the genre. Horror anime can continue to evolve and remain relevant in an everlasting media landscape. Besides, creators should not be afraid to draw inspiration from other genres and media, including literature, film, and even video game. By incorporating elements from various sources, horror anime can create fresh and exciting narratives that defy expectations and keep us on our toes. Collaborations between creators from different backgrounds and disciplines can also lead to innovative and unique horror anime. By combining their skills and perspectives, these creators can push the boundaries of the genre and produce groundbreaking series that breathe new life into horror anime. Let's take a look at the influence of Western horror on anime creators. Western horror, with its long history and vast array of subgenres, has undoubtedly left its mark on the horror anime landscape. From the psychological horrors of Alfred Hitchcock to the visceral terror of modern Slender films, elements of Western horror can be found throughout the genre. This cross-cultural exchange has undoubtedly led to some exciting and innovative horror anime series, as the distinct storytelling styles and cultural sensibilities of Western horror don't always translate seemingly into anime mediums. One issue that has arisen from this blending of cultures is a tendency for some horror anime series to prioritize style over substance, focusing on visually striking imagery and jump scares at the expense of deeper or more nuanced storytelling. While these series may initially catch people's eye, as their shallow narratives fail to engage the audience on a deeper level. To overcome this issue, horror anime creators should strive to strike a balance between their visual and narrative aspects of their stories. By blending the distinctive aesthetics and atmosphere of Western horror with the rich storytelling traditions of Japanese anime, creators can forge a unique and compelling horror experience that resonates with audiences from both cultures. Now, there's a crucial balance between dark and light elements in horror anime. One of the reasons horror anime has resonated with audiences in the past is its ability to strike a delicate balance between moments of terror and moments of liberty. By incorporating light elements into their narratives, creators can provide much needed relief from the tension and horror, allowing people to catch their breath before plunging them back into the darkness. It seems that this balance has been increasingly difficult to achieve. Some series lean too heavily into the dark and gruesome aspects of the genre, overwhelming people with relentless brutality and despair. Some series overcompensate by inserting excessive amounts of humor and lightheartedness and undermining the story's overall atmosphere. To recapture the magic of the good old horror anime we had in the past, creators must find a way to walk this tightrope between darkness and light. One way to do this is by focusing on character development, allowing people to become emotionally invested in the story and experience the full range of emotions as they follow the characters through their harrowing journeys. And also, creators should strive to incorporate humor and lighthearted moments in a natural and organic way, ensuring that they enhance rather than detract from the story's overall atmosphere. By doing so, they can create a more immersive and emotionally engaging experience for viewers, allowing them to fully appreciate the horror elements when they arise. Now, let's look forward and consider how we, as fans of horror anime, can help support standout series and contribute to the revival of this genre. While the factors I've discussed throughout this video have contributed to the decline of horror anime, it's important to remember that the genre is not beyond saving. By actively seeking out and championing innovative and engaging horror anime, we can help breathe new life into the genre and pave the way for a new generation of classics. To maintain an open mind and be willing to explore new and unfamiliar horror anime, by stepping outside our comfort zones and giving lesser known series a chance, we can help ensure that the horror genre remains vibrant and diverse, offering something for everyone to enjoy. While the current state of horror anime may be disappointing, it's important to remember that the potential for greatness still exists. Series and encouraging creativity and innovation within the genre, we can help usher in a new era of horror anime that captures the imagination and terrifies us just as much as the classics of the past. And yeah, that's all I had to say. If you enjoyed watching the video, I'd appreciate it if you leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and peace.